Morant with a running start. Elevate! Dunks! Oh my goodness! Tie game in overtime. Gasol will turn. His heat is gone! Memphis on top. 7-10 remaining. Conley now with three. Count it! A 15-point lead for Memphis. And Blake Griffin gets into it on the floor with Randolph. Hard to tell if there are any punches being thrown under there, but Griffin took acceptance. Adams going long. Morant! He hit it! John Morant, insanity!
You gotta be kidding me.
Welcome to Grits and Grinds, a Memphis Grizzlies podcast. My name is Keith Parrish. The day after having his huge renegotiation and extension announced, a day after the Grizzlies seemingly took care of a whole pile of offseason moves by acquiring Ty Jerome and signing restricted free agents in Santi and Cam Spencer, the dreaded Grizzlies PR announcement came. It always happens, it feels like, for us Grizzlies fans. And we got the shocking news that Jaren Jackson Jr. is injured. He was, according to the press release, injured in an off-site basketball run, injured his toe, has turf toe, required surgery. That surgery occurred on Wednesday morning. The updated release as of this morning, as I record on Wednesday, July 2nd, is Jaren Jackson Jr. had toe surgery and will be re-evaluated in 12 weeks. Less than 24 hours after we got the news that Jaren Jackson Jr. was staying long-term, getting a 4-year extension added on to a renegotiated final year of his deal. Jaren is hurt. Now, he has a significant injury. Zach Edey, of course, has a significant injury. Seems fair to guess that Brandon Clark is going to have some kind of minutes limitation as we go into next year. Horrible news for the Grizzlies a day after we were excited that they took care of all this stuff, that they locked down Jaren and Santi, that they acquired Ty Jerome in free agency. All of that excitement somewhat extinguished as we find out the Grizzlies are facing significant roster and health issues. Now, it's not all dark as far as we can tell because of the timeline that hopefully will work out for the Grizzlies. We are lucky in a sense it's July. So if Jaren misses 3 months, which is according to Jeff Stotts, the in-street clothes injury expert, if such a thing exists, Jeff Stotts saying the average time missed for an NBA player who has turf toe surgery is about 3 months. About 3 months, of course, takes us to October. So hopefully Jaren will be back for training camp and doesn't miss the start of the season. Even if he does miss the start of the season, hopefully he doesn't miss very much of the start of this season. If you want to get specific, the press release on Wednesday said he'd be reevaluated in 12 weeks. 12 weeks from today is the last week of September. Now, reevaluated, and again, it's approximate. It's not a firm timeline. Approximately in 12 weeks, they'll reevaluate him, and then hopefully it's good news, and then there can be a ramp-up period. It seems possible by the second week of October, he could be in line for playing basketball. Now, that's also the optimistic take. It could take longer, and that would be very bad for a Grizzlies team that already had front court questions. Even after bringing back Santi, after getting the commitment from Jaren long-term, they still had front court issues because of the Zach Edey ankle injury that's going to keep him out of the start of the season. Even when Zach Edey's healthy, I mean, I wouldn't be upset if they added another quality big man. Now, the roster is full, technically, after the moves they made, or the reported moves, nothing official yet. But the reported moves that came out on Monday, they're bringing in Ty Jerome, that they're giving Cam Spencer a regular contract. And of course, somewhere in all that Cole Anthony is getting waived or bought out or stretched. The team's roster is full. So I don't know how exactly they would address this new injury issue, but it is concerning because right now I don't think many people have the Grizzlies near the top of the Western Conference. I think there's an obvious step back they have taken with the trade of Desmond Bane. As optimistic as you want to be about the drafting of Cedric Coward or about the acquisition of Ty Jerome, and I think both of those things, it's totally reasonable to be happy about those things and optimistic about those things. To think they would replace next season what Desmond Bane gave you, I don't know. That feels overly optimistic to me. Also, I think if you thought this offseason they weren't done, I mean, I kind of honestly, truth serum, thought after Monday's reported moves, they might be basically done. Even if you thought, oh, we still could trade for a bigger starting wing, trade for another starter, use that Kentavious Caldwell-Pope salary, some of those picks that we have at our disposal, they can still trade and upgrade. I thought it was more likely they would wait and see what they have. Now, I think with Jaren facing this injury issue, I don't think it makes them more likely to make a deal. I think it makes them even less likely to try and trade for a guy. I mean, maybe there was someone out there they were eyeing who you thought could be a big three and also play the four some, and you think, all right, if Jaren has a chance of missing the beginning of the year, let's do that deal. So we have this additional power forward, small forward type guy. I don't know. I don't know who that player would be. I mean, think of someone in the mold of Jeremy Grant, even though with Jeremy Grant's contract, the Grizzlies would not do that. But horrible news, it seems like. Why can't we ever have, a sustained period of no horrible injury updates? I have no idea. But we got some shocking news on Tuesday. The update, it isn't as horrible maybe as we feared initially. I mean, the toe injury, surgery required, update to follow. Not ideal. And again, it's absolutely weird how this came out so soon after he locked down that new contract. What a roller coaster I would like to get off. Also, by the way, after signing, or after at least agreeing to this reported agreement for the new contract, Jaren Jackson Jr. did take to social media to talk about Memphis in a positive manner. He said, quote, "The M will teach you who you are. With love, it's always grit and grind when we're out here at all costs." Then he says, "Still feel like I remember moving here yesterday. Year 7, I'm incredibly thankful for everyone who has impacted my time here. Too much more ahead, always been the M." And some hearts. So Jaren expressing his appreciation, his commitment to Memphis. I mean, could he have done that beforehand where maybe we didn't have to do all those things, get rid of all those players and picks to clear the space to sign him to this deal? I don't know. Maybe that's too picky from me. But Jaren, happy to be here, I would say so, with that $217 million of new money coming his way. Now, as far as other Grizzlies news and other things maybe I didn't get to in the immediate reactions, I guess a couple more details about the deals that they signed and just further thoughts I've had about them. I don't know if I covered specifically on last episode that Ty Jerome's contract is 3 years and $27 million total. Of course, it seems like he's going to sign using the room exception where the contract would start at $8.8 million for next season, then have 5% raises in the following years. The third year of that deal is a player option. So I think Jaren and Ty Jerome are like the first Grizzlies players with player options, and I can't remember the last time that happened, but maybe I'm not remembering someone. Ty Jerome is a little bit older than I thought. Ty Jerome turns 28 next week. I mean, also, when you think about Ty Jerome having one good NBA season and he's about to be 28, maybe you start realizing, oh, that's how the Grizzlies were able to get him for maybe less than some of us pundits thought he would command in the open market. He's going to be, I think, the fourth oldest Grizzlies player The oldest Grizzlies player by a mile, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Second oldest, John Conchar. Third, Brandon Clark. Fourth, Ty Jerome. I'll be honest, if there was a trivia question that was like rank the Grizzlies players from youngest to oldest, I would have failed horribly. Even generally knowing the ballpark ages of all of our guys, I also would say even you hardcore fans might have failed. Like, all right, I got it. The tricky one, G.G. Jackson's the youngest. Still the youngest, even counting the guys who were drafted. After that, I mean, you got Scottie Pippen Jr. I think there's 8 players older than Scottie Pippen Jr. Some of this came about because I was noticing that Cole Anthony and Scottie Pippen Jr. were basically the same age. But yeah, G.G. Jackson youngest. As far as I can tell, Cedric Coward second youngest. He turns 22 in September. Jalen Wells, basically the same age, just a couple of weeks older than his fellow Washington State alumni. Third youngest, then Javon Small, then I think Jemai Meshack. They're both 22. Then Zach Edey, 6th youngest. Zion Pullen, 7th youngest. And Santi Aldama, who is younger than Scottie Pippen Jr. Santi Aldama, 8th youngest. So there's your random useless trivia. I mean, some of it, I guess, is interesting to know that these players like G.G. Jackson's still the youngest guy in the team. Maybe that means he'll play Summer League. I mean, he might play Summer League. By the way, we do not know which players exactly are playing Summer League. There are some reports over on Hoops Hype about players who apparently are playing for the Grizzlies in Summer League. Their first game in Salt Lake City is this Saturday. Javon Small is playing. We know that much. Beyond that, we're hopeful Cedric Coward plays. He's still dealing with that shoulder injury. He said on the Chris Vernon show, if it was up to him, he would be playing, but it's not up to him. Got to trust the medical experts and what the Grizzlies say. Meshack, I think, will play once the new league year starts on July 6th, and then that trade, I'm guessing, will be made official then, although, frankly, I didn't look into it very hard. I'm just assuming that that trade will be official on July 6th, so maybe possibly that means he'd be available for the Grizzlies' second game in Salt Lake City. It still remains weird. They play Summer League games before the league calendar flips over and these trades can be made official. But so maybe we'll see Meshack for a couple of games in Utah and then in the games in Las Vegas. You would guess Zion Pullen is going to be there. Beyond that, other names, again, that Hoops Hype had, Bo Montgomery, Aaron Estrada, and Ace Baldwin. I know next to nothing about those guys. Estrada played in the G League last season. He's a guard, but the official rosters for that should come out any day now. As far as the contract Santi Aldama signed, I've seen many people talking about it being a descending contract. Now, again, that's not official, but it seems to be the assumption this is going to be a descending contract. Now, the Grizzlies got in some trouble with Jaren Jackson Jr.'s contract being descending, and so they weren't able to extend him off of that number without doing all of these roster moves over the last year or two. I don't think that will be an issue for Santi Aldama. I mean, if he outplays this 3-year contract and is worth way more than that, that's good. That's great. I would love it if Santi Aldama outplayed this contract, this 3-year, $52.5 million contract, where the Grizzlies were unable to sign him to an extension off of it. I don't think it's very likely. The good part about the descending nature of the contract is even if Santi Aldama doesn't improve, if he plateaus, maybe gets a little bit worse, I think in the 3rd year of that deal, if it ends up being less than the full mid-level exception, that would keep it a very movable contract. So I think this deal for Santi is very movable and will be movable throughout the lifetime of that deal. So I don't think it's a bad move. I mean, as far as where the Grizzlies are, I think Santi's critics say the defense, the apparent effort, the style of play he's not really an NBA starter. And is he going to help you win playoff series? I think it's a fair question. I think there's a lot of questions about this Grizzlies roster. Like, are these guys the ones that are going to get you out of the first round? Cynical Keith says, no, but it doesn't matter because we might not even make the playoffs. I think we would hopefully make the playoffs as long as Jaren Jackson Jr. is ready to start the season. But the Grizzlies are a fringe playoff team right now when I look at the Western Conference. And worrying about, well, is Ty Jerome going to hold up in the postseason? Might not matter. Looks like a very good regular season player. Hopefully he keeps up what he did last year. I mean, I assume he's going to take a bit of a step back, not being on a team with so many talented guys, not having Mobley and Jared Allen and Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland behind him. But hopefully he still brings that dynamic scoring, a little bit of playmaking. I think he'll be probably a very popular Grizzlies player. So I am still excited about the deal, even with that player option in the third year. It seems like a home run value contract. Just hopefully he can step up and not have much of a letdown based on what he showed in Cleveland. And with that, I think that's all we have to do for an unexpected episode, yet another episode this week. I thought maybe we take a little bit of a breath before July 4th, before Summer League kicks off, but no. Dreaded injury update. Jaren Jackson Jr. going to be on the shelf for 3 months. Hopefully that's all. And now the Grizzlies, I don't know. I don't think you can feel confident about where they are, but they got a lot of options, and I think that's been maybe the theme of the summer, keeping options open. Signing Ty Jerome keeps your options open. Keeping Santi Aldama, not letting him walk for nothing, it keeps options open. This roster right now with the first-round picks, with the various sized contracts, with like John Konchar's money still on the books, with KCP's money on the books, a lot of things you can do. Oh, by the way, I guess I should maybe, one more thing I can mention, this random Gogo Batadze rumor. There's no, as far as I can tell, absolutely no truth to this, or the veracity of it has not been backed up by any notable NBA reporter. However, you could imagine a John Konchar for Gogo Batadze deal makes a lot of sense for the Magic. It would save them money. I could even imagine, I mean, I don't know their specifics as far as their roster spaces on the Magic. I could even imagine a Konchar plus GG Jackson for Gogo Batadze. I could imagine a Konchar plus Vince Williams Jr. for for Gogo Batadze. Those deals make sense to me on paper. I am not super eager to give up Vince Williams Jr. or GG Jackson, but I can imagine that could be the sweetener that the Magic would want to move on from a solid rotation level big that they have. They'd be helping out the Grizzlies by having a fill-in when Zach Edey's out. I would argue a player who is better than Zach Edey in Gogo Batadze. That deal could make sense, but again, I don't know if it's just a random rumor. And also, speaking of rumors, the Jaren Jackson Jr. changing his number from 13 to 8, apparently that is real. But I also find it strange there's been no official announcement from Jaren or his team or from Nike or any other newsbreaker. But apparently Jaren's going to wear number 8 next year. Anyways, the Grizzlies play a game on Saturday. Let's be real. I'm hopeful I don't have to podcast before then. I mean, maybe good news, a trade happens, but I don't think it is going to happen. Hopefully no other terrible updates. Anyways, if you want to support the creation of this show, get access to the listener Slack and exclusive bonus content, all of that is available at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. All right. You guys have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon. Go Grizz.